Hey guys, welcome to Hack Shack Studios. Art T. Bear here, and we are going to be inking up this bad boy today. So, like always, let me know if you guys are live and kicking, and if I pushed all the correct buttons. That means talk to me in the chat, and feel free to ask questions and interact with me the whole time. It gets a little lonely here at the studio, so feedback is always appreciated. So thanks in advance, and let's get this party crazy. Oh, also, yes, thanks to everybody over the past weekend for all the support on Chrono Mechanics. We almost did 3K worth of sales. We got a bunch of books into your hands, and you know what? Maybe I'll start with this. I'll show in a bit once I get a sign of life out there in the chat that we still have a couple books available, and I might leave them open and let them sell out or pull them down later. Hey, we have Gus Tyler Bush. Hey, how are you, brother? So we have our sign of life, so we know, well, I know that this is going out into the world. This broadcast, this is still so amazing, you guys. I'm old enough that this boggles my mind that I can talk to anybody who wants to chime in real time. That's pretty crazy. This technology still blows. I hate it. I hate working through it, but I like the idea of it, and I like doing it. I'm notoriously, I'll notoriously push the wrong buttons every darn time. So I'll click the wrong links. I'll push the wrong button. It's just what I do. It's my thing. It is my thing. Ooh, and also, I just got back from lunch with my wife, Pamela, and the PDFs, the black and white PDFs, are going out as we speak. So that's great news. She said she's hoping to have all the PDFs out either the end of day or early tomorrow. So if you ordered a black and white PDF, those are going out now. So if you don't receive them I'd say, okay, so today is Tuesday, Wednesday. I'd say probably by end of week, if you don't get your PDF, let us know, and we'll resend those out to you. So thanks. We have some interaction. Good. How are you, Art? I am doing good. I am doing really, really good. Oh my gosh, man. I did so much physical work yesterday. I cleaned out the garage to make room for the black and white books and the Chrono books in the future. So I have to turn basically the garage into a storage space for all these, these crowdfund books and stuff. So, oh my gosh, man! When I guess my metabolism is so, like, if I eat the proper amount or the normal amount, I can get through the day. But if I use like energy, like if I go out and I clean the garage or walk or do anything, like my metabolism, I just need to recharge my battery. And so I woke up this morning, and so I'm trying to alternate between my usual eggs and like either oatmeal. Oh God, I'm telling you guys my whole life story. Oatmeal or Cheerios, just for my cholesterol and everything. Take care of my health. And if I don't have protein in the morning, man, I crash. So I was going to do the stream earlier before lunch, but man, I was tired. I was dog tired. So I just got back from lunch. So I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to screen share, and we'll take care of the business. Oh, and if you could, you guys, thumbs up as always. That's cool. It helps the algorithms, I am told. I don't really know. I don't know how any of this stuff works. And here is a Chrono post. Boom. So if you guys don't know, I have a book right now. It's on Indiegogo. I think we have 13 days left. You know what? I'm just going to go to it while I'm talking. Okay, screen share. And we should be at the Chrono Mechanics page. So Chrono Mechanics, yeah, you can see, you guys, 14,165. Everybody at Backed, thank you so much. You are helping fund this dream, man. I have had hopes to bring these guys back for a while now, and you guys are making it all happen. So thank you. And the book is great. It's really funny. It's a good sci-fi action adventure humor book about time traveling repairmen, and it's the mundane meets the super fantastic. So it's a lot of fun. Come by, read our campaign overview, and check out the tiers. So Chrono Mechanics, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. Don't let that flexible goal scare you guys, because realistically, we need to get this thing to about 25K. At 25K, we can make everything work. So like I said, we have 13 days left. We have 180 backers. So it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, it's a self-contained book as well, you guys. So one of the things I'm going to do after Black and White Volume 2 is I'm going to start doing one and dones, because I think for these crowdfund campaigns, they're way better, because it just takes too long between books. I don't really have the resources and the machinery that like a Marvel or DC has to be able to put things out on a monthly basis. So, you know, I'm basically a one-man publishing crew here. So yeah, come by, read what Chrono Mechanics is. Like I said, in a nutshell, they're time repairmen, and this is the cover to the first book. And while we're scrolling down, these are off to the right, these tiers. We added a few tiers for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and I'm debating, they're going to stay up today. I'm debating whether to keep them up until they sell out or just pull them down now, well, at the end of the day. So if you guys haven't heard, we had a big old blowout over the weekend, and we brought back some Black and White books and some of the Oodles of Doodles and other stuff to art book. So here we have the Chrono Mechanics plus Black and White book, and we have 4 of 5 sold out. We had a tier of this earlier, and we sold out of that as well. That seems like the popular one right there. We have art book. I think we had 25 or roughly around 25 books left, and so we're making those available as well. Price, and this is the original print run. So this is not a reprint or anything like that. So whatever we don't sell here, we'll probably bring into a Oodles of Doodles Volume 2, which I am planning on right now. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to do a follow-up to Oodles 1 with Oodles 2. I probably have, I should be able to fill up another art book with stuff that I have. I just have to go through and make sure that's the best of the best pieces that go in the art book. So sometimes some of the art doesn't take, it doesn't make the cut. So I just have to go through there, and I need to find a graphics person to be able to put that book together. So if anybody in the chat knows a good graphics person, I have a template. I just need to have somebody plug it in. I can do it. It just I'm just going to have to start delegating some of this stuff so I can get more of the artwork done, because of much time. So we have 1 of 5, so there's 4 more available of the Oodles book, Volume 1. We have the Oodles plus Black and White. Well, no, that's not Black and White. I'm sorry. It's the Oodles book with the Batman head sketch. So I don't know if I have any here. Hold on. Let me see if I have. I think I've been doing some of these sketches. Hold on. Let me see if I can find one. Yes. I should try to prepare more. So I'll show you guys this once I'm done here. The Oodles book with the Batman sketch. You know what I can do? I'll just shake things up and I'll go right back to StreamYard and show it to you. So here's the art book that I was talking about. So it's pretty cool. This is volume 1. And here's the Batman drawing. So it's pretty detailed. It's pretty clean. And so it's got a dust jacket on it. And then the main cover, which I like a lot. It was hard debate. I debated with myself with the dust jacket, but I think that it's a cool package with the dust jacket and everything. So here's a few of the pages. So here's the first page, and then so some of it gets back to my camera does that whenever it sees color or something. I don't know why it does that, but we have stuff from like the beginning of my career. So I believe this was done in '92. So I found this original artwork, which I still have. I think it's up on my website, Art by T. Bear. I have all my original artwork there, and I just saw it, and I got inspired. So I digitally re-inked it. So I cleaned it up. I guess you could say remastered it. And so I thought it came out so well that I had a friend of mine, Thomas Mason, color it up, and he did a great job with this. So it really injected some new life to it. So that's pretty awesome. So here's my Spider-Man pages. Here's my Hot Chick page, Hot Chick section, I guess. So then there's covers. So this is a cover of Action Comics that I penciled and inked, and Thomas did the color. So you get to see mock-ups and different layout ideas. Here's a Captain Action cover I did a while back. So it'll have all kinds of fun stuff in it. There's covers, there's commissions, there's con drawings in here. There's all kinds of stuff. So yeah. So this, we have a tier, and those are very, very, very limited. So let me go back to screen share and go back to my Chrono page. Yeah, so that's the oh yeah, okay, so yeah, that was the $100 tier, the Batman with the head sketch. And so this was a big seller too. The Chrono Mechanics plus Black and White Oodles book. So that's the jam. That's the trifecta. So we have three. No, we have one left. We have one left of those. So yeah, I mean, we just have just a handful of books left from the Cyber Monday sale. So I'm going to leave those up today, and then I'll see how it goes. And either I'll shut that down or I'll leave those open until we sell through on them. So I just wanted to let you guys know that there's that stuff that's available, and to also congratulate you and let you know that there are some stretch goal goodies coming your way. Get to them. I realize that sometimes I scroll these things too fast. I probably give everybody vertigo. I heard like the variant Caravaggio cover is done. So pencils by Carlo Barbieri, inks by me, and colors by Perea, who did the color work on Black and White. Which, by the way, the Black and White books are still shipping. Pamela said she's going to the post office today. And so she's going to get a couple more books out there for you guys. And here it is. And still on the Black and White front, we are getting our main shipment in, I think Pamela said the 13th of this month. So 10 days away. So once we get those in, then we can start packing up and sending out bulk orders. Because right now, what we had to do, just so we could get books to you guys and keep my word, I had to pay like 400 something, almost $500 to get early shipping of books out so we could start fulfilling. So unfortunate, but that's the reality of it. These guys are taking forever to get us stuff. And Pamela told me at lunch as well that they are here. They're in the States. The books are. And so we just have to wait 10 days before they go from port to the house here. So once that happens, then things are going to go nuts. This house is going to turn upside down. It already kind of is. We've built the fulfillment center downstairs. And so with all those books, like 1,000, what do we have? 1,500 books coming. So it's going to get pretty crazy. So here's the stretch goals here. We unlocked the 12K, and we unlocked the 13K, and we unlocked the 14K. So we've had a stellar weekend, you guys. So you'll get the OOT card, which is the 12K. You'll get the Doug trading card at 13K, and you'll get the Zin trading card at 14. So once I scroll back up, I can show you how far away we are from the 15K. We're not that far away, actually. So this is all doable. So if you haven't heard, the OOT card is done by Sean Cheeks Galloway, and the Doug variant cover trading card is done by Tom Bancroft. And then we have Aaron Lepresti doing Zin, his version of Zin. And then we have Carlo Barberi doing Caravaggio. And we just finished that up. So that was fun. We got to do that artwork live on YouTube. So I had been inking it. So if you guys go back in the history, you can probably find me inking that Caravaggio piece up. And so then 16K is the next trading card, which is and on pencils, inks, and Sean Ellery on colors. And then I did a special out for the trading card with the caution strip and the Chrono. That's like the Chrono Mechanic Team 9.2 of Sector 7 insignia that's there. So I think that came out really cool as well. And so then we have the buttons, and then we have the guitar pick, which I can't wait to get this thing made. I'm mostly doing this for myself, you guys. I hope you think it's cool, but I really want this lucky pick. And so on and so forth. So yes, I think I covered all the business aspects. Got you all caught up on the Chrono campaign here, and let you know a little bit about the black and white stuff. Like I said, if there's anybody coming in late, the PDFs are going out right now for black and guys. So check your mail, and if you don't get those, let us know. But wait till the end of the week. So they all should be out by the end of tomorrow. So if you don't get them by the end of the week, let us know, and we'll resend those to you guys. So thanks again for helping support this Chrono Mechanics campaign. And if you could tweet out, that would greatly help. If you've already backed the book, or you just kind of want to help this little book succeed, tweeting, Facebook, whatever your social media is, I should say, it's all good. It is all good and appreciated. So thank you. I'm going to go back to StreamYard. Here I am. Oh, look at the chat. You guys love me. I feel loved with all these names. So we have Vilnid. Hey, y'all. How are you, man? And Vilnid is a shining example. He's a mad tweeter. So I appreciate all the tweets you send out. It does help. We have Cam 1138. That sounds like a George Lucas student film. THX one whatever. Yeah. So yeah, more chicks. I think you're making reference to the art book. Oh, there's chicks. There are chicks in Chrono as well. Doug is a 70s rock rock star. So there are some chicks. Bonjour. Uh, I've got the book. Is that the art book or the black and white book? Either way, that's cool. These all look cool. They all look great. Living in the Great White North. Yeah, my heating broke down, so I can't even pretend to understand what it's like to live in really cold weather. But it's been cold here. Oh, we have Brian M. Yeah, and the shipping, like I said, there's going to be a black and white shipment going out today. I think we have one more before we get all the main order books in. And like I said, that will be probably the 13th. So that'll be next week sometime. So that's not that far away. Oh, just as an aside, if you order just the oodles of doodles and other stuff too, those orders are going out as we get them. So those are shipping now. So there is a good chance you'll get those before Christmas. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Oh yeah, you were over here. You saw it. Yeah, Pixel saw the fulfillment center. Oh yeah, thank you. Pixel did the math. So we're only 835 away from the 15K stretch goal. Thank you for the backup. And we have another link. So if you guys want, please check it out. I am a George Lucas student project. Yeah, you are. Has anybody seen that movie, that THX, whatever that? It always looks so, I don't know. It looked kind of boring to me. I guess it's mostly because of Star Wars. Because Star Wars were so darn cool when I was young. The THX just looked, it didn't look so fun to me. So I'm going to try to pencil up some of these and make sure that they're all on model. This stuff is, these are breakdowns or layouts. I think they're more called breakdowns from render based on my thumbnail layouts. So what I do sometimes is I kind of make sure that this stuff's on model before I ink it. And then it makes the thought work a little less when I'm actually inking the book. The time to think is not while you ink. You can write that down. Yeah, so I think simplification is the rule here for me. Simple shapes, simple forms. That all looks good. That looks good. Yeah, we're still at the 50s diner. Actually, this page is a little earlier on, so we're not quite going in order. So I think Zen's head's a little more pointy. He's got more of a point to the head. So yeah, if you're coming in late, I'm going to ink this bad boy up as soon as I figure out and make sure all the lines are working, which they look pretty darn good. Yeah, so I think that Mike Miller closed down his Lone Star. I think that's what he did yesterday. And I think Bran is finally closed down. So I'm not sure if their book is done yet, if the Bran book is done. But yeah, these books are starting to get finished and go into fulfillment. So that's really cool. You guys have been very, very patient. I think in the whole black and white campaign, we only had one return, and I'm very thankful for you guys for holding in there and waiting for your black and white book. So that's very cool. Yeah, it's kind of like you're investing. It's kind of a long-term investment. To get your return, which is the book. So I do really appreciate it. I gotta find his chest. So this is a little too round. It is a round shape, but it's not a ball. It's not perfectly symmetrical. I found some old, like, Chrono drawings and stuff too, like developmental stuff. If I remember, I'll show you guys when I take a break here and read the chat. I think that's one of the fun aspects of doing these projects is being able to show you behind the scenes aspects of these books being made. I know if there was something like this when I was younger and more in my comic collector days. I don't really collect too much anymore. Actually, I don't collect at all. I just buy what I like. But if I was, I still would. I'd still check this stuff out. I still go and see what some of my favorite artists are doing on either Twitch or YouTube. So it's pretty cool. It's so weird. Like when I was breaking into the comics business, I didn't even know what size the like the paper was. I mean I believe until that Marvel tryout book came out years ago, I didn't even know what size the paper was. I think that book got into, yeah, because there were actually boards that you could ink and try out on and things like that. So I believe that's when I found that it was 11 by 17, because there was no internet. There was nothing that you could really check and look into any of this stuff. Now with YouTube and the way this stuff works, you can pretty much get anything. Something. I think I figured this out. There's something. His neck isn't long enough because these collars are longer. I need to find some reference here. I hit a snag, you guys. I snagged it. Yeah, I think this is up higher. It's more like this. So I think this is it's too low. So I'll still ink the head, but what I'll do is once I go into Photoshop, I'll move it up. The only problem, actually, I probably want to move it down. The only problem with this is if I move it up, then it'll be cropped really weird. So I'll probably end up moving the body down, which will become a royal pain in the butt to do, but I've never been about taking the easy way out. Pinky's a little short. Okay. I'm going to give it one last look and then start inking it up. So I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if I've been on since Thanksgiving. We had a wonderful kind of low-key time here at the T-Bear house. So my daughter worked most of the day, but we had her in the morning, so we had kind of a brunch before she went off to work, and most of our friends and family were all doing their own thing this year. So we kind of it was just my wife and I, and to be honest, it was strangely relaxing. It was almost like we had a free day that we could just not have expectations, not have to do anything that we didn't want to do, that type of thing. It was almost like we got a free day because we usually, the T-Bear house is where all the friends and family come, every year. So it's kind of like a destination. And so we usually put on a pretty big shindig here at the house. So this year we didn't have the shindig, so the pressure was kind of off. Not that it was, I don't mean the pressure as in a bad thing, but to just make sure the house is all squared away and that food is being cooked and all that. So it was kind of nice. Like I said, in a strange way, I like friends and family coming over and all that other stuff as well. But this was kind of low key nice. It was a nice change of pace. And so Pamela still put together a pretty good turkey meal, but it just wasn't made for the masses. It wasn't trying to feed 50 people. Well, not 50 people. Maybe 25 or so. $50 people, man, that'd be crazy. 25 people's crazy. But I believe we are going to have Christmas here. So we will still have crazy huge get together. But it was nice. It was really nice just not having to do anything that we didn't want to do. And then you know what I ended up doing most of the day? What I'm doing right now. So that shows you that I truly love what I do. All right, this arm's a little weird. He's more just kind of like there's not a lot of muscle definition with Doug. He's just kind of like skin and bones. So this is an example of like drawing through. So you can see as I'm drawing through, I'm finding the elbow. So this is the original line. Here's the new line. To draw through a little bit, but I can possibly adjust that in Photoshop. So I hope you guys can see this. Like, the camera is so odd. It looks pretty good. Let me see if this, yeah, it might help with the inks. But it's weird because the blue line is kind of hard to see. It's a little easier to see once I put some graphite over the blue lines. But this is the page pretty much. And once I start inking it, you'll see. We have Durakin. Feed me! Feed me, Seymour. No, I will not feed you unless you come over. If you came over for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I would feed you. So we ended up, my daughter, like I said, she was working late. She works at Starbucks. So we made a couple extra plates for her and her coworkers. So we took some Thanksgiving food over to them on Thanksgiving Day. And man, I'll tell you, like, being like a single person, young person, you don't usually get those niceties that much. And so when you get them, I just remember when I was young, man, you just went crazy. And those guys, they ate that food up, boy. They were so thankful. They were literally thankful on Thanksgiving. So that was very cool. What? The Baby Yoda toys are out right now? Well, don't go there. Stay here. Stay here. But yeah, if you could give a thumbs up, that would be cool. And hey, I'm not doing this for bottom line. I'm doing this for the love of art. Yeah, money, who cares about money? Success, who cares? This is all about the love of the art form, which is comic books. What a sellout. Just kidding. I have thought about doing, I have a Yoda print. And so last year, actually some people have asked me about it too, is do the Christmas bundles and see if I can get those out before Christmas, which if I'm going to do this, I got to do this now, where I do a head sketch of a character and then I bundle it with a print and some other theme related stuff. So I was thinking about possibly doing a Baby Yoda. The Baby Yoda. For some reason, this ink is coming out very, very thick. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Ah, see that? It just proved my point. I'm going to have to check this nib. Yeah, even when I barely put pressure on it, maybe if I add some new ink to my well, let's see, the Miracle Cure. Yeah, I think it's better without the light, actually. Ooh. That might have been it. So yeah, I think we're on like 32 or page 35, somewhere around there with the book. So we're trying to we're shooting for the end of the year to get all the heavy lifting done on the book. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but that's definitely a goal. So I'm trying to set deadlines up like earlier so we can possibly get it done earlier. How can I compete with Baby Yoda? Baby mechanics. The baby mechanics. I don't want to do that. I haven't worked that out very well yet. Baby Yoda. People seem to like the Baby Yoda. I have not seen any of the Mandalorian stuff yet. I have heard that it is really good, though. I'm hesitating, given Disney my money for their streaming service, is that I know that within a year they're going to just hike those rates up. And I don't want to feel like I've been tricked. Because I think the price that it is now is pretty reasonable. I think also why I'm not getting involved too much, like too early with this streaming war stuff, is because I want to see in a year what is standing and what isn't. Because I think the problem is going to be that everything is going to get so specialized. It's like if you want Disney stuff, you got to go to this. If you want horror movies, you got to go to this. Like everybody is strangely just backing their own stuff. And so, you have to pay these subscription rates to get like certain type of, entertainment. And I just think that that's going to be really expensive. And I think the only one that's going to really lose out in this streaming war, as they call it, is the consumer, because the consumer is going to be forced to, pick. Like, I can't afford all of these streaming services, so which ones do I truly want? Where before, like Netflix or these, they would just kind of air all kinds of different stuff. But now everything's going to be very specialized, and if you want certain things, you're going to have to pay a premium price for it. And I don't really like that idea. I mean, if there was a bigger variety of stuff, but I mean, I think just Disney stuff would get old after a while. I like Disney, but I have no interest in any of that programming stuff that they have, like their animation or a live action Lady and the Tramp and all that other stuff. It's like, I don't really care about that. I don't have any interest in it, and we don't have any young people here anymore, so it doesn't even, And the weird thing about all this streaming stuff anyway is, other than it being on your computer, didn't Disney already have a freaking channel? They already had like the Disney Channel, and most of those stations, like Fox already has a network, and Warner Brothers already has a network. Like, what's the freaking difference between like streaming and like normal cable TV stuff? I mean, other than, yeah, it's on the computer, but some people watch TV through the computer anyway, so I don't really understand. And most of TV is free, or when you you have your cable installed, it's all bundled together. I think HBO and some of those other ones have never really, um, those have always been like premium sites. But other than that, I don't know. How do you guys feel about like all the streaming channels? Is it just going to get ridiculous? Or is this really a good thing for the consumer? Because I don't see it in the long run. I don't I don't see it being good for the consumer, but what do I know? It's like that song, 57 channels and nothing on. And I don't know. I've already heard that some of the Fox stuff, like The Simpsons, the way Disney's doing it, it's kind of, I guess there's a ratio, so some of the screen is cut out, so it's not even like good, like what you're seeing. I heard that they're gonna fix it, but in the meantime, people have paid for it and they're not really getting the full screen, so you're not getting, the original, what the creative people intended for you to see. So yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I think I'm gonna wait a year, and I'm hoping, because what I like to do is either binge watch or get the season. Just buy the season, like HBO's like Westworld. Um, I just bought the season when it came out. I didn't watch it on HBO. I don't have HBO as well, but so I thought it was just as good. And you can watch, the whole thing back to back. You can binge watch it if you want. So I'm pretty sure that at some point Disney will probably sell it. And if not, it's one show that I could do without. It's not even the money. It's more of it's only one show. Like, what else is there? They kind of announced the DC, the Marvel stuff, the Marvel shows that they're going to do, but right now they don't have them. So maybe if they were up and running, I would feel different, and they were good. Because that's another thing. These shows have got to be good. It seems like so far The Mandalorian, people are liking. I like that the fandom is so freaking like once bit twice shy kind of thing about the Star Wars franchise, that they want to get excited about The Mandalorian, but they're afraid to. That's a bad place to be, man. I don't know how you could screw up characters like this. I say this about, like, there's two characters that people always say, oh, well, it would be hard to do these characters. They say the Hulk and they say Superman, and I'm always like, just have Superman doing super fantastic stuff, like having that guy, save the planet from a meteor shower, or have him, like, rescuing people in space, and just doing like the basic Superman stuff. Because as far as I'm concerned, I just want to see Superman being super. Like, I don't really care about much of anything else. And with the Hulk, like, all I want to see is I just want to see destroy stuff. That's all I want to really see. So I think, story is cool and adding all those extra things to it. But if you could just have them do those key things in the book, that's all I need. And with Star Wars, it seems like you don't have to reinvent Star Wars, just do Star Wars. Like templates exist. There isn't like this is why it's weird, like the fandom of just about anything. Like Hollywood or whoever's, even comics do this to themselves, where they go, oh, well, this doesn't work anymore. Or this is what we think people want. And so they fundamentally change things to the point of maybe not even recognizing what it was at some point. And I think people just wanted good Star Wars. Like I thought that The Force Awakens, although it didn't really break any new ground, but it felt like the tone was right. And I thought after the Lucas prequels that was at least a move in the right direction. I know that people are now coming out and saying how much they love the prequels, but I personally I don't really care for the prequels that much at all. I thought there was some good stuff that happened, but overall, I thought they were pretty boring, and so I don't have any real love for that. But I thought that you know giving The Force Awakens the benefit of the doubt, I thought it was a good setup. I was really let down by another Death Star idea. It's like we got to stop that right now. That has been played out to death. So I was a little, I guess, actually kind of insulted by it. It's like, really, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to have the Death Star again. Um, but the tone was right. The characters, even though they weren't necessarily like, Rey wasn't necessarily uh, like totally, a complete character yet, but she was definitely on the journey. I think she had the sympathy, or she had your attention. You kind of were, you understood her plight, what she was going for. Um, Even the Harrison Ford thing, initially, I thought, like, I didn't like it. I wasn't 100% with it, but I kind of thought, like, in lieu of her losing anybody close to her, because usually how these stories work is you lose somebody. Like Luke lost, he never knew his parents, but he lost his aunt and uncle, and so then that started him on the journey. And so this one, like Rey never knew her parents, but in a way, Han Solo was her surrogate, like, dad. So it kind of worked. So then when he died, I thought, okay, this is how we're going to motivate this character now, this Rey character. But it didn't really seem to do anything. She never doubled down. She never stepped up. Nothing really changed. It felt like emotionally, or even within the story. So um, I thought that's where they dropped the ball. But within the first movie, you didn't really know. Having hindsight now of the second movie, that where things are going to go, or where they went, and how they ended up resolving those things in a very unsatisfactory way. And then their answer to everything was just, to have this new franchise exist, they had to get rid of the old franchise. So they just kind of started systematically killing off, you know, the old guard, which was a really, really bizarre choice. Um, I think it would have. I mean, if they just even did something as simple as leave Han Solo alive for that first movie, um, and then kill him in the second movie, um, talks about characters, you know, Luke, Leia, and Han Solo together in the Millennium Falcon. Like, people wanted that, and they'll never be able to do that ever again. They've just written themselves into such a weird hole that they can't do some of these fundamental things that would have been exceptionally cool. So now they're just kind of trying to somehow pay fan service, you know, after the fact. You know, let's get Billy D. Williams in there now, and he'll be in there with Chewbacca flying the Millennium Falcon. It's not the same, man. He's a cool character and all, but you know, he's icing on the cake. But we still need the cake, and it's so weird the way they change these things. You don't need to change them. You just kind of need to find what makes them special and cool and connect with people, and then just write stories around. Star Wars is not a deep story. It's a real basic, you know, good versus evil type of storyline. So we don't need any serious clever plot twists, or it's not a thriller, it's not a whodunit, it's none of those things. So I just think that just write some really cool Star Wars adventure stuff. And from what I understand, that's kind of what The Mandalorian is. It's pretty straightforward. You know, it's not, there's not a lot of plot devices or heavy in the plot. It's kind of just, you know, a nomadic character kind of doing his thing. Somebody said that it's actually a little Lone Wolf and Cub ish, you know. So, you know, it's just it's a more simple story. I don't know. There's some people that they're like, oh well, Star Wars, if they did this, that, or whatever, and whenever I hear, you know, those ideas, kind of, they're more like, put them in like a gray world. Let like the good and evil not be so clear cut and all those other things, and then I just think, well, if you do that, fundamentally, it's not Star Wars anymore. Like, thematically speaking, Star Wars is those things. It's clearly defined good and evil. If there is a gray area, it's more in that, you know, there could be redemption with a dark character or a bad guy, you know. But I don't see that as gray as much as just it's hopeful, you know, that Luke never fully gave up on Anakin, and that was a great storyline. I That still connects with me. I Whenever I think of like a true hero, you know, I always think of Luke, because Luke was willing to die, um, after he had proved the point. Like, he proved that he could probably have kicked Vader's ass. Like, that he did. Um, so, you know, after, you know, you see that Luke was a badass, like that Luke could destroy this guy, but then he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to redeem him and try to help him. And and so it ended up costing him his own life. Or I mean, he was willing to do that, and that to me is like a pretty killer like hero's journey when a character is not just willing to fight and die. That guy was just willing to just let them kill him, without a fight. So I don't know. Star Wars is doomed. I don't know who these people are, man. Who these frickin' Ryan Johnsons are. There are people that have great love for these worlds and these franchises, and it's just so bizarre that you mean to tell me you can't find these people? Like, they're there, they're out there, man. They would love to get a shot at writing a Star Wars movie. Like, it seems like they get the fan like types to do like the special effects and stuff like that. Like, all those guys are like, yeah, working on Star Wars, this is cool. And then, the people that are writing them or directing them seem like don't they don't really care about it. They don't understand it. I mean, anytime that you fundamentally, like, your first thought is to fundamentally change something, and turn it into something else, you're not a fan of it. If your first chance is to subvert expectations, or to kill off, Han Solo in the first movie, I don't care what your deal with Harrison Ford is. Like, Harrison Ford's like, well, I'm only going to do this if you can kill my character, and say, yeah, we'll kill your character, but it's not going to be in the first movie. Like, give us a movie and a half, give us 2 movies, have him die in the third movie, like the third act or something, and have his death have some meaning. Like, he did do the Luke thing where he wasn't going to fight his son, because he still believed in him, and then the son kills him, but I don't know, maybe it would have felt better if he hung out for more of the movie, and then they offed him. Actually, the thing is, I've heard so many of these like ideas online, different people like myself talking about this, people in the chat talking about these ideas. And excuse me, the problem is a lot of these ideas that people are just talking about online, they sound better than the ideas that are coming from Hollywood. Like, that's really bizarre. It's really bizarre when people just sitting inking on their live stream can come up with ideas that sound better than the ones that they did. And I know that hindsight's always 2020 and all those other things, but if somebody came to me and said, like, we're going to kill Han Solo in the first comeback Star Wars movie, I would say it's a bad idea. The only one I remember, when Taylor was still working here, I said early on when the Force Awakens trailer came out, and there was that one. You just see hands, and the hand is doing a pass to another hand, the lightsaber. I guess it's Luke's lightsaber, right? But you don't really see who's the one that's passing it. And I thought what would have been an interesting beginning, especially having hindsight now, is if Princess Leia was dying at the beginning of the story. Like, she was on her deathbed, and so you get to kind of see that she's a princess. You get to see her in a way that they only said that she was a princess before. So you get to see kind of her in, like, she's royal. She's this royal person, and you get to see that she's had this very full life. And then, you have Harrison Ford come in, and it's kind of like a different Harrison Ford, like a Harrison Ford that you like Han Solo that you haven't seen before, and he's like kind of this noble guy, like maybe even have him have a full on beard, like a King Arthur type, right? Like he's royalty, and and he comes in, but he's still got the same personality traits, but he's kind of more like kingly. And so, you almost have like a royalty kind of scene between the two characters. Um, and then she says, there's something I want you to do. And I've felt this, and there is another, or whatever the line would be. And she hands Harrison Ford's character, Han Solo, the lightsaber, like Luke's lightsaber, and says, you need to find him and bring him back. Or there's another, like, I kind of mixed whether it would be go get Luke and bring him back, or there's another, like there's somebody I've sensed that's a Jedi or something like that. But either way, she passes, and then you have like this massive gut-wrenching funeral. And I'm talking about, like, this would be early on in the film. You'd probably set up, maybe do like a bad guy scene just before this, and then you have this scene, and then you have like this royal send-off, and then you still see Han Solo. He's got the beard, and he's kind of like the king and everything else, and so then it's the next day, and you see either the Millennium Falcon or some kind of equal kind of rogue-looking ship fly in, and then you see that it's Chewbacca, and he's like, rah, rah, and then you see come out, like it's like one of those cool like multi-storied platforms that it lands on. I love that, like the Cloud City stuff. It's a great aesthetic. And so then you have, you see Harrison Ford come out, but he's got like the rogue clothes on now, and he's shaved, so he looks more like the Han Solo that you know and love. And so then they're going to go on an adventure. Now they're going to either go try to find this Rey character, or they're going to go find Luke. So what I was thinking is, if they went to go find Luke, then what's cool about that is that maybe they find Rey, or they meet her kind of similar like the way it was done in the actual movie, but they kind of inadvertently find her. They're not looking for her. And so they find out that she's really, like somehow, because they have this lightsaber, that she's really attuned to it or whatever. So then they find out that she's kind of force sensitive or whatever. And so there's more to this girl than meets the eye. And so then they still go on the adventure. I wouldn't do the Death Star. I still think that's pretty lame. But they go on the adventure, and then, now she's part of the adventure, kind of Wizard of Oz-ish, where, while Dorothy, going, she meets all these other characters that can help her. So then that's kind of what happens as they go along. And then this new kind of generation ragtag team is kind of brought together to find Luke. It's not just her, it's not just whatever, it's like all of them. And so then at the end of the movie, they find him, they catch up to him. No Death Star, we'll have some other kind of big bad, but maybe just make it like there's obstacles, but there's this underpinning idea that there's tension in the galaxy, that there's this first order that keeps rearing their head. So then they have confrontations with them, and you get to see how their ripple effects are affecting the ripple effects, how it is affecting the people of the galaxy. Because one thing we didn't really get in the original Star Wars is you didn't get to see what the Empire was doing to the average person. You got to see them blow up not the Death Star, but Alderaan, which was pretty heinous. But you never really knew anybody on Alderaan other than Leia. So they could kind of show some of these worlds. They could show what the First Order is doing and how bad they are. And you could establish, all the First Order characters that way, the same way you did it in the First Order. And you could have Finn kind of, deserting and all that other stuff. But I just think that, just make there isn't like necessarily a complete like beginning, middle, and story like the original Star Wars. Since everybody knew this was going to be a trilogy, in the original Star Wars they didn't know there was going to be a trilogy. There had to be an ending. But this one, that there isn't. So have some kind of beginning, middle, and end, but not like the Death Star or anything so grandiose like that. And then at the end, you get to see, them all there. You get to see Han and Luke together. The only sad thing is they wouldn't be able to have the princess in there. Leia wouldn't be in there because she had passed. Or maybe you make that she's very, very sick, so you have her part of the journey, so you get to see her and Harrison Ford's character through this whole thing. When they pick up the new Finn, Poe, and Rey characters, and she's in the journey, but she's kind of really sickly, but you get to see her do some kind of cool force thing. You know what I mean? Like, we get to see how powerful she's become, but she doesn't have to be physical. She could kind of do it, mental, kind of like, the way Luke did in the second, what was it, the Rian Johnson film, or, like her floating Mary Poppins kind of act, where you could have her do something cool like that, and saves their asses, but it also really, really weakens her. So then what you have at the end, you have the three of them together, and then they fly off, and then maybe, Leia maybe she perishes or passes away in the journey, in the adventure, or she passes away. Well, she would have to get the three of them in, she would have to pass away in the second movie. And I still would keep Harrison Ford around for the third movie. I would have him and Luke fight back to back, doing something with the Wookiee and R2 and 3PO, a toe, and then just do a whole, like, you could do the old and the new. You could see how the old are fighting, like this certain faction of people, and then you can see how the new group are doing, and so you can get kind of like a contrast between the new and old. There's a lot of things you could do if you left those characters alive. It gets very limited when you kill them off the way they did. And also they're doing it in such a textbook way. Like, it's very sterile. It's like, oh, we're going to off this character on this movie, this character in this movie, and this character in that. Like, it doesn't even feel organic. It does feel mandated, like, like a corporate, decision. Like, this is how we're going to do it. Very mechanical. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the worse I feel about it, and the less hope I have for any of it. Because, I mean, there are people that really wanted, and I was one of them, to see the group together, in the Millennium Falcon. That would have been worth the price of admission right there. But kind of frame it up like it's their last mission. Like I said, like Leia doesn't she passes away early on in the second movie, and so then you have them fly her back, and then you have like a very royal kind of funeral, and so then you get to see like the whole galaxy and everybody, how they felt about her, and how important she was, and that somehow that you're also letting the reader or the viewer know that they had a life. She had a life. She inspired people. She helped rebuild things, and that the whole empire, the galaxy really loved her. She was a great leader. The way it is now, like you don't get any sense of that she accomplished anything. She's still kind of like, I think they just make reference like, well, we just do what we've always done. Like, what? And also, she's a rebel leader in the way Force Awakens. Like, you've never. There was never any peace. There was never any rebuilding from the original trilogy. There was never anything. Like, you didn't speculate that there was a world that came out or came after, Anakin's death. Nothing. It's the same bullshit, the same thing that you had in the original 3 movies. Nothing's changed. All of a sudden, there's this First Order. Well, where did they come from? How did that happen? On these guys' watch? They saw the first one rise. There was no cautionary tale. There was no one tried to stop this before it got to that point. In the first movie, in Force Awakens, there's a freaking Death Star. How was anybody able to do that? And based on that, these guys lived through the original horrors. They didn't tell anybody, watch out for these First Order guys. There was nothing up to that point. It's just weird, man. There was absolutely no thought given to any of this stuff. I don't know. I think Star Wars, I think we deserved better, and I think Star Wars deserved better. In 1978, a freaking movie changed my life. I can honestly say Star Wars changed my life. There's a handful of things I can say that changed my life, and I'm still kind of living based on those things. And Disney cartoons, Disney in general was always inspiring to me. When I got older, rock and roll, Kiss, Van Halen. Man, when I heard the first Van Halen, You Really Got Me, changed my life. Comic books, Batman. When I was very, very young, that was my first crazy obsession. I think I was 5 in '66 when the original TV series came out. So, and I still have Batman fever. I was hooked then. And then in '78, like I said, Star Wars. I mean, I wanted to become like a special effects artist, after that movie came out, because I always liked building those miniatures and models and stuff like that. And I was always fascinated with film. Yeah. Oh, I have Kevin here. Hold on, Kevin. I have something I want to show you. I got to get up. I started working on this for you. And I do appreciate your patience on this commission, but let's see if this camera will pick this up. It's kind of washed out. But this is your commission, buddy. This is your Judge Anderson. So there's still some pencils I got to work out, some details, and then I'll start inking this on the stream. I don't really like to pencil too much on the stream because I don't know, there's a lot of erasing and thought work and stuff, and I don't think it's that interesting. I think inking you get to see because it's more bold and dynamic. So this is your commission, my friend. Yeah, the 3 skulls, and I like the bigger gun. I did. Where is it? I don't have it here. Maybe no, I don't. I did do a version where she had the smaller gun. I have it somewhere. What I said I was going to send you the layouts. So when I send the layouts to you, Kevin, you'll see that I did try to put the pistol in her hand, but it just didn't look as dynamic. So I'm going to go back in the chat a little bit. I've been going on and on about Star Wars. That stuff has just been percolating inside me for a while. It's weird. You don't realize how outspoken you are until you actually the floodgates start opening up, and you're like, "Yeah, man, I had a lot of thoughts about Star Wars." You know. Oh, we have Nighthawk Warrior in here. We have Awful Redneck Gaming. Wow, you guys have been pretty active here. Like I said, it's always fun. I get to go back in time and see where we were, at 1:02. What time is it now? Yeah, this is a half hour ago. Okay. Okay, you guys are, because we were early talking about like streaming services. Andrew J is in the house. How are you, Andrew J? Yeah, it's like cable again, but it's on the computer. I don't get it. Like it's not even like the streaming stuff doesn't even seem like that much of an original idea. It's just cable channels, just like we had before. Like why couldn't Disney, channel do the same thing that they're doing with the streaming stuff? But with the streaming, they're charging, and you watch, you guys. In a year to 2 years, that Disney streaming service is going to go through the roof. Disney Plus, because once they've destroyed all the competition, there's going to be no one to compete with, and they're just going to jack their rates, and then they're just going to be absorbing everything and anything into that Disney Plus streaming service. It's absolutely insane. Nighthawk Warrior, how's everybody doing? We're all doing good. Andrew says, how's your book coming along? And Nighthawk says, it's coming along slowly. We just had a little mini conversation within a conversation. So we have Pixel. When they control their content, they make the money for themselves without having to license it to other platforms. Yeah, but they also have the overhead. But I guess with the streaming service too, I don't know what kind of overhead, through the internet is. I don't know if they're, I don't know what their overhead is, because Disney usually licenses everything out. They don't want to create infrastructure for anything. So like their comic books and, a lot of their licensed stuff, they just, licensed stuff. A lot of their content they license out, because I've had friends that worked in, like for sportswear companies and like towel companies and things like that. And they all, they do Disney license stuff. And so they pay a licensing fee to Disney, and then they have to work within the Disney confines of their styles and stuff like that. So they have to get everything okayed, all their design work and everything. And I think even Disney sends them like style guides and stuff that they have to work within. So it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it just seems like Disney would just license to a streaming service. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand it. I do believe, they keep saying, who's going to win the streaming wars? Well, I know who's going to lose the streaming wars. It's going to be the consumer. We are. When you have to pay a premium for every kind of thing that you're interested in, it's going to be nuts. Okay. I pay for Netflix cable. Just canceled Hulu. I use Pluto TV, free TV. Yeah, I have no idea of where everything's going to go. Yeah, it's weird. Like, people really praise the first season of Westworld, and they think the second season was bad. I guess because there was some wokeness. I don't know, but I thought the second season was in a lot of ways better. I think it was more. I don't know. It wasn't, the first season was kind of like mind effy. Like the whole, I don't know, it took me a while to figure out that they were actually going back in time, and they were going back and forth in time, and they weren't telling the story in a linear way. And it just seemed like it was artsy fartsy just to be artsy fartsy. It didn't seem like it really benefit the storytelling. I heard that Mr. Roboto series is really good. I gotta check that out. To be honest, I'm watching less and less TV, and I'm just hanging out on YouTube, checking out what people like myself are doing and different shows. I like that. What is his name? It's the drunken something or other. I can never remember his name, but I like it's the Critical Drinker. Yeah, the Critical Drinker. I'm really liking his shows. Yeah. All right, Pixel's out of here. Okay, Pixel be good. All right, now we're 107. I got to read these faster. Star Wars fandom is still divided. Star Wars fandom is still divided, but everyone is trying to come together for the Mandalorian. Yeah, I'm hoping that DC, I always say DC, Disney can really get their shit together and try to brand this thing better and get some better storytellers in there. Oh yeah, I heard that. What an out of touch human being, man. There's no comics or novels for Star Wars to go off of. What a freaking, like, I don't even think she's lying. I just think she doesn't even understand this stuff. Like, and that she doesn't even pretend to. I remember what was her name? She was in charge of DC Comics when I was working there a year ago. She's not there anymore, but she was the one that I think she had kind of a decent idea to try to unite the comics and the movie divisions of Warner Brothers. But the thing is, I read an interview with her, and she said that she doesn't read the comic books. She doesn't read the comic books, and then I think she tried to legitimize it with, like, I just don't have time. What are we supposed to do at that point? Are we supposed to feel like this is okay? Like, why do people even talk like this? I don't understand that. Like, where else is this acceptable? Like, I'm going to repair your plumbing, but I haven't read the manuals on how to repair the plumbing. Like, does this instill trust? Is this acceptable behavior? It's almost arrogant in your ignorance. Like, you're proud that you haven't read these things. Like, I'm not a nerd. I don't read these comic books. Why would I have to? I don't know. Have you listened to Kevin Feige talk? That guy understands the nuances of the Marvel universe. How can you have this guy that's, this job, I should say, of bridging the gap between these two things, like the source material and film and not clearly understand the source material. It boggles my mind. And like I said, it's a weird like arrogance. It's weirdly like they're proud of the fact that they haven't read these things, that they don't understand them. Like Kathleen Kennedy, why don't you understand these things? You're hiring all these people and creating these new divisions and all this stuff within Lucasfilm and Star Wars, and you don't even understand the core concept. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Okay, Death to Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, I'm still debating whether I'm going to go see the movie or not. I think I'm not going to go see it on the opening, and I know I'm going to wait a week before I see it. So a week, then I'll see how the reviews are and see if it's more like 50-50. If it's 50-50, I'll go see for myself. If not, I really don't want to give them any of my money. Not that it's a big protest or anything, but like I just don't want any more of this stuff. I don't want any more Ghostbusters, this last Ghostbusters. I don't want any more of this Charlie's Angels or Terminator nonsense. Go woke, go broke, I guess is what they say. And it's not even like a political thing for me or belief system. I just want to go and see good movies. I just want to see good stories. It's pretty insane. They can use the stones to go into other timelines and then get everyone back. Boom, save your stories. If you're talking about time travel, if they bring time travel into Star Wars, I'm out. I'm out forever. The time travel stories only work if they're time travel stories. Chrono Mechanics works, but also Chrono Mechanics is based on like it's a silly idea. So we're not really rigidly adhering to one way of time travel or one specific thing. My mantra has always been, if it's funny, we do it. So if we contradict the time travel rules that we've established and it's funny, then we're going to do it. That's it. Because, if it's a wacky, action adventure sci-fi, we can get away with it. But if you're trying to do that in Star Wars or still like I'm not sure if the Marvel universe is going to be able to recover from, their time travel idea. I'll just say it. I have a lot of hindsight now. I was on the fence before. The time travel aspect in that last Avengers movie was absolutely horrible. It was a short-term idea that doesn't work in any real long-term way. And if time travel exists in that world, then what does anything matter? That's the problem with time travel. If you have a time travel device and you can time travel at will, there's no consequences. There's no reason to get uptight. You'll just go back in time and unfix it or reset time. It negates everything. It negates your story. It negates human struggle. It negates drama. It's really a bad idea to introduce into your universe. I mean, just think about this, you guys. This is why I don't get any sleep at night. Okay, that's a joke. I do sleep like a baby. But if we actually had time travel in our world right now, consequence wouldn't matter. People would run amok. People wouldn't give a crap. People, all value system, everything, we would just collapse. Humanity would collapse. If you knew that nothing was real and that you could undo anything, you could go back in time or even forward in time to figure out things and then go back in time and then implement those, nothing would exist. Humanity would just destroy itself. It can't exist in any kind of real way. It's like, I've said this before, it's like when people say they want a utopian society. A utopian society, you want a utopian society, you're a deep thinker, you want peace, love, and understanding, you want all these things. Well, guess what? You have to have complete and utter agreement for a utopian society. You cannot have disagreement, and you cannot have free will, and you cannot have freedom, because all those things create conflict. And if you have conflict, you do not have a utopian society. If you have a difference in point of view, you do not have a utopian society. You cannot, because the only way you can is to have complete and utter agreement. Everybody has to be moving in the exact same way, and there has to be some kind of master plan that everybody is either indoctrinated into or agrees to. And getting a world to agree, good luck. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. And then there's these punkers and these people that are like anarchy in the UK and all this stuff. Like, I always thought those people were stupid too, because anarchy, okay, we're going to tear down the old. Well, what are you going to replace it with? Einstein? Or are you just going to just have an anarchist society? And if we have an anarchist society, we used to have those in the early development of man. And you know what it came down to? The strongest and the most willing to do whatever. So if you had somebody that had no morals or had no respect for life, they would just take and dominate. So it would be the biggest and the strongest. That's it. It would always come down to the biggest and strongest. So you could build an empire, but if somebody could go in there and just kick your ass, then guess what? It doesn't matter. There's no rules. There's no enforcement of law. There's none of those things that exist. That's anarchy. So if you have anarchy, you don't have society. So you could say, I want an anarchist society, but you're basing that on a society that has structure to it, that has rules. If you have a problem, you can call 911. You do something, there's legal recourse, there's punishment, there's all these things. Why do you think these things exist? Because you can't trust people, because it will revert back to the biggest and strongest. It will. So, I'm going off on a tangent. I didn't realize I had this much to say about these things, but like people say, like guns aren't just. I don't know how you guys feel about guns, but guns are just, because guns are the big equalizer. They're the great equalizer, and they may be the biggest, the best invention that man ever came up with to create equality. Because if the smallest person can take on the biggest person if they have a gun, then the biggest and the strongest will not take over. So if you're a weak person, you don't have strength, you can't rival that person. But that person was to come and try to take your stuff. Whatever you built, destroy your family, whatever it is, you can actually stop that person. And you don't have to be bigger and stronger than them to do that. What's this? Oh, what? Are you kidding? You want to share this with everybody?
No, go ahead.
No, I think you should. You did this. You did this. All right, you guys, this is a big announcement. I thought this was going to take longer, but go ahead.
All the black and white PDFs have been sent.
Yoo-ha. Wow, because you were saying at lunch that you thought it would take until like end of tomorrow.
Yeah, but I just kept plugging away.
Well, this is good news. So if you guys have backed a PDF tier of black and white, they have all been sent out. Like I said, don't do it tomorrow. Don't do it, but do it at the end of the week if you didn't get your PDF. So give it some time. And if you didn't get it by the end of the week, then let us know.
It should be there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if something happened,
something goes
give it
wrong.
some time,
Yeah.
you know, so we don't get inundated
Yeah.
with everything. So that is very, very cool. So
And
yeah.
now I'm going to go mail out more black and whites. And so I'll see you later.
You gonna
Bye,
take off?
everyone.
By the way, that was my wife, Pamela T. Bear, and she's my co-writer on Chrono Mechanics, and she usually edits all the books and projects that I work on. So she's invaluable. Invaluable. And so she's going to mail out some black and white books today. So the black and white books are still going out. So yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. I was getting fired up there, man. I was getting so fired up. Yeah, I just think that some of these things, some of these writers and these creative people have to start asking themselves, and not that this stuff isn't even deep thought. Like everything I just told you guys, this used to just be kind of normal thinking. You know what I mean? Like people just understood these ideas, and then you have Hollywood, like, you know, talking about getting rid of guns and like the socialized agenda and all this other stuff. It gets crazy. Like what are you going to replace it with? You know, a lot of these ideas that they talk about only can exist if you still have the structure that we have now. But if you start introducing more socialized things, or you get rid of guns, like let's just say they get their way and they get all these things, I guarantee you everything will come unglued in 10 years, maybe less. Because you just can't, you know, who's going to pay in to the system if everything's fair? Like if we have a socialized kind of way of doing things, we're going to be taxed like crazy, and nobody's going to be able to have anything except for whatever the government dictates to you now. This whole socialized medicine is I'll just say it is fucked up, man. My daughter had a problem, and since Obamacare and all this other stuff, it took, like, they don't want to spend money, so they don't automatically just say, well, we can't take care of the problem, go see this specialist. They make you go through so many hoops before you get to that part that somebody could die. I'm not even kidding. Somebody could die in that amount of time. So I'm not going to get into the details of the problem, but she has some. It's not life threatening, but it's definitely can change her life aspects. And there's still a chance to check it and get it fixed. But it could have, if one of these doctors just wouldn't have had to save money or go through, you know, all this bureaucracy, she could have got this help years ago, and we could be done with it. But it's not going to happen, man. It's only going to get worse, man. I saw this documentary. It was in Russia or something like that. They have like glaucoma day or whatever. So they all line up, right? And it's an outpatient procedure. And so whoever has glaucoma, they go there and they get, sorry, I'm grabbing stuff here. Yeah, they go in and they get the procedure done. They go in and they get the procedure done, but it's very impersonal, and it's just like an assembly line, like you see, you know, like building a car or something. They go in, they get the surgery, they lay down for 20 minutes, a half hour in some kind of bunk with a bunch of other people in a room, and then they got to get themselves home. And there's no personal care. There's no love in it. There's no nothing, man. You're just another annoyance to the system, man. You're just a cog. All they want you to do is go to work and pay your taxes, and they're going to give you the minimum in return. So you're not going to be able to aspire to anything beyond what the society or the system will provide for you. It's absolutely nuts. These people are insane. Oh, yeah, Brie Larson. Why Why did she even get a franchise? This is another thing. Why would you, such a personality-less person, hire her to? Because I guess they're also setting her up as like she's gonna be the Captain America or the Tony Stark or whatever to lead the Marvel, cinematic universe. Bizarre personality of a rock. Here's is going to happen. You will have high taxes, and corrupt politicians will take most of the money for themselves. Yeah, Pablo Romero Art. That's one thing they always leave out of these equations. They say, oh, equality for everybody. So in these socialized governments, in these socialized countries, there's no rich people. Bullshit. Somebody's getting rich. There are rich and there are powerful people there. If they put their money where their mouth is and there was true equality, then all these politicians, all these people, these heads of state and stuff like that, they would make the same, and they'd have the same lifestyle as you and I. So you have our government saying, oh, Obamacare, or whatever the hell kind of bullshit scraps that they're going to give us, right? Obama, his family, they're not on Obamacare. I know it's not called Obamacare, but I like calling it Obamacare. I think it's funny. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And I love you, Cam. That's funny. Yeah. I haven't gone off like this in a while, so I guess this has been brewing for a while. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome, man. Do it like in Canon. Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, Cam's back. Socialism isn't for the socialists, it's for the little people. The authoritarians will get whatever they want. Yeah, and you know what? It's a system that's more structured for them to get whatever they want. You talk about a pyramid scheme. Socialism is definitely a pyramid scheme. I'm doing better due to Obamacare. I don't agree without its. What is this? But sometimes something like it should exist. Dude, I've known people. My sisters have been on welfare. They had just as good medical as I did in the day. Hospitals didn't turn people away. Taxpayer dollars paid for my sister's existence since she was 20. She's older than I am. And my other sister's on welfare as well. And a lot of people, I grew up in a really bad, poor neighborhood, and there's a lot of people, they had no problem getting medical, and they didn't pay a dime. My sister had multiple babies that taxpayer dollars paid for. So I don't know. I mean, at least in California, poor people are taken care of pretty well. People that don't have money had pretty good medical. The people that's screwing up is people like me. I had better medical before Obamacare. I had better medical, and I've always paid for my own medical. I was able to go with different providers. They would compete for my money, and me and my family got way better care, attention, and service than we do now. The amount of paperwork, the questions they have to ask, so invasive, man. It is so invasive. It is not a better system. So if it's working better for you, that's great. But most of me and my friends, it's not working at all. It's pretty horrible. Okay, we got Dillard draws. Because if you hire a plank of wood, everyone can envision themselves as insert any hero, except they don't, cause no one cares about you. Oh, cause no one cares about you if you have no personality, a byproduct of creating by committee. Yeah, and you know what? I'm telling you right now, like my daughter works at Starbucks, and they can't even manage this that store on their own. Like these middle management, these managers that run the facilities, it all has to go through corporate. Corporate also dictates their orders. Like they can't order per shop. They only can get what Starbucks deems their deliveries to be, meaning there are certain things that sell better at this store that maybe in a general way don't sell as well in other places. Well, if these guys were able to order their own based on their clientele, if they were able to manage the people, the hours, and all that stuff based on the situation, they would be able to manage that facility better than they do now, because the person that's working there can evaluate day to day, hour to hour, what's needed and what's not. A corporate company that's not even in the same state, they cannot. So they just make these general assessments of what people need or what this requires, and then they just do it, and then they just hire people to basically be mouthpieces for themselves. And so I know a lot of different creative, publishing companies are becoming more like this. Film companies, TV companies are becoming more like this, where it's less an idea or a good script or an original, IP. It's more of just like mandated, by these corporations or by these individual powerful people. And I think that's fundamentally a problem too, because you can't have a filmmaker just make a film, especially if these are franchised ideas or IPs that have existed prior. They become problematic. Yes, I'm drinking from a straw. It's a plastic straw, and it will not end up in the ocean, and it will not hurt a turtle. Okay, what is the ACA? What is that? America something, I imagine. Just inflamed a flawed system, funneled more money to the people who were doing things poorly. Yeah, and I'll say this way: government is not the answer. Giving government a new division to manage, giving the government more money and power has never fundamentally worked out in our benefit, our as in we the people. So I don't think we should be doing this stuff at all. I think we should go back to the private system, and we should do that. I don't want anything free. I don't want the government to provide anything for me. Screw the government. I don't really care. The less I have to do with them, the better. I just want, the laws that we have right now just to be basically supported, and I want a strong military. There's certain things that I want from the government, but one of the things I don't want from the government is I don't want privatized medicine. I don't, not privatized, I mean government medicine. I would rather, these companies be able to compete for our dollar. I think we'll get better service, and we'll get cheaper prices. It's high tea bear. Rotten glory. Okay. Affordable Care Act. Oh, okay. Yeah. I agree. I don't think these people have our best interest in mind. I think this is corrupt. I think this is a way to get more money into the government. Um, Forge that plastic straw into a shiv. No, I don't want to hurt anybody. um, at no point has my life at no point in my life has healthcare been free of distortion caused by government. Um, I don't know. Government can regulate things. I think government's good, like as far as the FDA and some of these company, these aspects. I think those are good. I just don't want them running a business. I don't want my government deciding whether I can live or die. Like I don't want these things based on a budget or I don't want any of those things. It sounds creepy and horrible to me. And rich people have always been able to afford better healthcare or better everything. So, that's not even, I don't even think that should be on the plate. Wow, that was my squeaky chair. That was weird. So, an inking stream, I guess I should make good on my promise. Boy, I sure did go off there for a while. It was fun, though. Yeah, so if anybody's coming in late, I'm inking page 19, and I'm going these pages. I think this is some of the earlier pages that just weren't done yet. So I am going back on these pages. So I believe, let me check my book as soon as I ink this. So I think we're at page 35. Is that right? 36, actually. So 36. And we're going to backpedal on page 18 and 19. So this is page 19. And page 18, I just gave some notes off to Render Contender on. So he's kind of doing some breakdowns based on my layouts on a few of the pages, not all of them. I'm trying to find, here it is. Let's hope this nib is better. Yes. So yeah, Chrono is moving along, and we're still shooting for the end of the year on finishing the initial stuff on Chrono. So if we stay at a 48 page, then so what is that? I said 35. So what is that? 45, 10. Is that 13 pages left? So it probably will go into January now that I think about it, because the holidays, everybody's got a lot of distractions. But that's still earlier than we originally had mentioned. So that is the goal, is to try to get it done earlier. And I'm also going to do more one and dones after Black and White Volume 2, because the reality is it takes a little longer to do these projects than I had originally thought. And if I can give you one and dones, then we won't have to wait as long for the follow-up, because sometimes it's a little bit of a wait for a follow-up to a cliffhanger or something like that. So I'm going to try to get these things done a lot faster. So that's my goal. And even if I have to bring in some people to help or support, then that's what I'm going to do. as long as the quality and the integrity of the comic or the idea is still intact, then that's what I would like to do. So that's the idea anyway. I really love the Chrono style. I like working in this style. It's a lot of fun. And like I said earlier, I'm going to leave some of the Black Friday offerings and Cyber Monday offerings up. There's just a handful of books left, the Oodles book and black and white issues. So if you're coming in late to the stream, Chrono Mechanics over the weekend, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we put up some black and white books from the original, like the premium edition, and some Oodles books that we found. So those won't be available for a while. So if you wanted to get your hands on an issue of black and white or the art book, now would be the time to do it. So a lot of dots and dashes in this style. It's like Morse code. Get this collar. The Force Dome projection collar. Okay. Okay. Do all the thick, bigger stuff and go into smaller detail. So this character I'm inking now, his name is Zin. He's a child deity. He's worshipped throughout the galaxy, but only by the lower life forms. They're the only ones who acknowledge him as being a deity. But what he's really preaching is more just like it's the Trinity gem, the me, myself, and I. So it's more of like a self-help kind of mantra. He's kind of our pontificator. He's our man of peace. He's as much of a holy man as you're going to find in the Chrono universe. He's the voice of wisdom. And believe me, with this team, you need somebody to keep the peace. Because if Caravaggio and Oot were to stay together for very long, they would probably kill each other. They are like oil and water. They do not mix. They don't play well. With each other. Yeah, man, last week was weird. I wanted to do more live streaming, but I don't know what happens sometimes. Every time I would start to do something, like think I was going to start live streaming, something would come up and take my focus away. I guess it should be higher up on the priority, but my family and those things takes priority. I think it's just been one of those like celebratory weeks, Thanksgiving and getting ready for Christmas. We got our Christmas tree yesterday. It was awesome. And my daughter's getting to the age, she's so freaking awesome. She was like, let me get the tree this year. So she actually bought the tree with her own money. So I pinch myself all the time that we did good by that kid. Like, she's got a good sense of a fair play, and she's got a good heart, and she's very generous, and I like that. She's also very talented and smart and clever and funny and all those things too. Yeah, that was very, very sweet. So she's got a boyfriend. His name's Earl. So we all decorated the tree last night. It's pretty funny because without getting too much into his background, they weren't that strong on Christmas. So he doesn't have like a lot of holiday experience. So it's actually kind of fun to see him in these situations. And Amanda and he has been together for a while now. And so over the years, the more comfortable he gets with the family and everything, the better these celebrations are. So, excuse me, yesterday or last night, was one of the first times I actually got to see him. He was actually excited about it. He wasn't just like, oh, this is kind of strange or awkward or whatever. He seemed like he was looking forward to it and he had a good time. So it's almost like, in a strange way, like seeing a kid experience Christmas for the first time. So, and he's real good, and he's real good with her. So that's the main thing. Yeah, I would never tell him that I like him because I want to keep him on his toes, but he's an okay guy. No shotgun needed with that guy. Yeah, we're gonna have the big, crazy holiday experience at our house this year. So it's always It's always fun. This house just comes alive. Man, there's a lot of people that get their trees now before Thanksgiving now. I think if the powers that be had their way, they would probably just get rid of Thanksgiving and just go right into Christmas. Yeah, I like how they turned like Cyber Monday and Black Friday so they could actually kind of claim it as Christmas. Thanksgiving, especially the way they're like, oh well, the settlers snuffed the Indians and all this crazy anti-America bashing that we're getting now. I don't even know if Thanksgiving is going to make the grade. It's still one of my favorite times. But there's just no money in it, man. There's no Thanksgiving gifts. They should start figuring out how to commercialize it more. I think Halloween still does pretty well. Not just the candy aspects or whatever, or the costumes, but film does well too. So they usually put out, horror, Halloween themed movies. But Thanksgiving, man, it's not a whole lot. I just found out, I didn't know this, and I think it's true, that you can't even get like these big turkeys any other time of year. Like you can only get these big celebratory turkeys is in November and December, I think. I don't know, for some reason I was thinking you could buy these turkeys all year round, but you cannot. If there's something where the government or the president pardons a turkey, I always thought that was weird. You, turkey, will not be eaten. We will not kill you. I was wondering if you're a turkey and you're just like, no, I want to die with all my brothers and sisters. Take me too. We got Doug walking away from the hot 50s cafe car hop. Excuse me. I'll catch you later, sweetie. So I wish I had more done. I shouldn't have gabbed. Shouldn't have gabbed so long. So here we go. I don't like the shape of that boot. I may have to come in there and repencil it. So I think I'm just going to machine gun a bunch of lines and try to get more done. Got some 50s cars in here. Time is merging out in the middle of this prehistoric landscape. This 50s cafe just pops in. That's this building in the background, the Eat at Joe's sign over here. I need to move somewhere else because of the wet ink. So these are like prehistoric plants here. Uh-oh. I'm turning into a boring live stream. I'm going to go to the chat, see if I can liven this up, and then I'm probably going to wrap this up in a bit. I think I'm going to go live later tonight with Kyung Lee. We're going to talk about newsprint comics. So check us out later. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's 2:30. We're going back in time in the chat. Durakin's taken over. I do not believe that the government should take care of our health. I'm sorry, Durakin. I do not believe that. I don't think they have a responsibility to take care of our life. That's very complex and very personal. You know, next thing you're going to say is like they should actually feed us too. I don't think they should do any of those things. I mean, if you're talking about medical. Oh, Pablo just got his just downloaded Black and White. Cool. Yeah, it's awesome. So you guys are getting your stuff. Yeah, it's never been free. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would think it was supposed to be free. If you're poor, or if there's ways that they can still get health care. Like I said, my sisters have never had a problem getting health care. At times they had better health care than I did, and they never paid a dime for it. So, the government has already had structures in place where they took care of people that, were low income or whatever. So I never quite understood any of this to begin with. I will read it later. Cool. Yeah, let me know what you think. I hope you like it. I'm really happy with the story. I think it came out really good, and I can't wait to let you read the second volume 2, because there's some pretty cool twists and turns, and there's a lot of action. The first issue, there's setup, but it's interesting setup. It's not just like boring setup. So we establish the world, the characters, the situation, all those good things. But the next issue is going to be pretty fun, because it's just going to be a lot of action adventure. Oh, yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you another thing about, like, what is it? Bernie Sanders and some of these guys that are saying like college should be paid for by taxpayers and higher learning and all that other stuff. There's only one reason they're doing this, you guys, is they want to be able to indoctrinate kids. They're already able to do it on a lower level, because the funds of schools is done by taxpayer dollars. College is not. You pay for that yourself, so they can't indoctrinate people the way they can in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools. So they want complete control and complete indoctrination. I know I sound like a paranoid person, but this actually is true, and it's happening. I think you can see it clearer, that it's less about a real education and more about indoctrinating you into a way of thinking, which is very, very dangerous. And I believe that that's the way these schools are going. Another thing is, I think a lot of states are becoming less state controlled and more big government controlled. This is also a problem in this great country we live in, where used to be able to regulate your own schools. You used to be able to build your own schools and kind of control your local settings more. It's kind of like what we were talking about with corporate mandates and big business calling the shots. I think state decision making, state governments are going bye-bye. And I think more big government is overstepping their boundaries and taking control of things that they had no right to be in before. But they are. And I think it's because states are becoming less and less powerful. And I do also believe it's because the people don't understand what your state is supposed to do versus what your government is supposed to do. Your government is not supposed, your big government, the Washington, D.C. government, are not supposed to be doing a lot of the stuff that they're doing. This is more localized government that's supposed to take care of these things. They are overstepping their boundaries by leaps and bounds the last probably 15, 20 years. We've seen more and more of our civil liberties and rights and government overstepping their boundaries happen. It's absolutely crazy, but nobody's really recognizing it. Nobody's doing much about it. So it's pretty scary. If you want to improve what? If you want to improve education, cut education funding and spend more on military R&D. I don't know about that. I'm not sure I understand that. It's been I need whiskey. It's 2 p.m. I need whiskey. Just finished crazy work cycle, and it's time to get messy. Go get messy, my friend. Have a ball. Have a drink on us. I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon too. I just have to get this page to a place or a point where I feel like I've done a good day. Well, a good stream's work, not a good day's work. All right, I'm just going to read this without reading it, pre-reading it. I don't know if it happens in the US, but here's one problem we have besides corruption is that no one can ever get fired from the state. Yes, yes. So you can do a bad job or do work, excuse me, or don't do work at all. My dad worked for the military. He worked for the Long Beach Naval Shipyard for the government, and they would have quotas every year for tools and supplies and things like that. So what these managers would do so they could actually get and not have their budgets cut, even if they didn't use tools and didn't use some of these supplies, the workers were instructed to throw these things away. And it broke my dad's heart because my dad not only, would work with his hands at the work site, but he also did that around the house. He had a wood shop and stuff like that. So he liked tools and he liked working. And so it broke his heart when he would walk by these dumpsters and there'd be brand new tools in dumpsters. And so the government was actually, so they could keep their budgets, they were throwing away brand new material, brand new tools, all this stuff. They were just liquidating them. So there is a lot of corruption, and that's just what my dad saw at the shipyard. I'm sure it goes way deeper than that. So you could go home. I don't know about 3 hours, but I'll do my best. Yeah, teachers have, what was it, pension? I forget what they call that. There's something that makes it very hard for them to get fired. Yeah, because I'll tell you one thing. Okay, I've been working almost my whole adult life as a freelancer, right? My employer, I mean, sometimes I'd sign contracts, so I would get certain benefits, but most of my career I did not have benefits. So I have a schedule, I have a deadline. I have to meet that deadline no matter what happens in my personal life. I have to do that. And if I don't get paid. So if I don't do a page, I don't get paid. It's that simple. I don't have paid holidays. I don't have paid vacations. I don't have medical. I don't have anything. All my career as an adult, I've had to take care of all these things. So when people complain to me about medical or they complain to me about XYZ, I have no sympathy because I've done it. I've raised a family. I have a house. It's almost paid off. Financially, I'm okay. And I did that all without any government help, without any subsidization or any interference from anybody. And I'm not special. I'm not unique. And I just know based on the way I work and a lot of my friends that in this industry work, they work their asses off, man. They are the hardest working people I think I've ever seen because there's none of these things. If I want to take a week off, you guys, I have to work. I have to somehow get an extra week done in the meantime. Either I have to play catch up when I come back or somehow I have to get ahead of schedule before I take off. So there's a lot of things like I don't have weekends off. I don't have regulated time. I don't have, any kind of place I can go to complain about my work being exploited or my workplace or any of these things. Like I don't have any of that stuff. And somehow I think it's a better way to work. I think if you got paid per job or you got paid like for a job that was done or that you had to do, I think it would be better. Because when you are on an hourly, there's a lot of room to waste time. And I've worked those Joe jobs and I call them professional time wasters. You've seen these guys, you've worked with these guys. They're just great at eating up the clock. They're great at making it look like they're doing something, but in reality, they're not doing anything. And you guys have also worked these jobs that if you put your nose to the grindstone, you'd be able to get these jobs done in half the time, if not quicker. But there's no real benefit to it. There's no real benefit to working harder because you don't get any rewards from it. So you just kind of become very good at the status quo, at kind of fulfilling a minimum quota. And I'm not saying everybody does this, because I didn't when I worked these Joe jobs, but I have known a lot of people that do. But I just think that the way it's structured, there's a lot of wiggle room there to abuse it, and things like that. And at the very least, I used to hear people complain about, oh, I had to do this, or I didn't get this day off or whatever. And I'm like, you get a day off though. Every Saturday and Sunday you get a day off. Most places work that way. Or at the very least you work 7 days, or you work 5 days out of a 7-day week. So there's always 2 days that you get off. I don't get that. So I think that if we really wanted to get things done and less corruption, if we got paid per job, I think people would be more hungry and you'd see people doing better work, because also you're only as good as your last job. So if it's a job-to-job negotiation, then if you don't do the job good, you're not going to work the next month or the next week or whenever the job is supposed to be done. So, Nighthawk's back. Hello, Nighthawk. Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not going to pretend I have the answers because I don't, but I do know that if you can't fire like a teacher, then they know that. And not everybody, I mean, because there's still personal integrity and things like that, and there's people that take pride in their job, and as long as they have that, they'll still do good work. But there are a lot of people that will get lazy and they'll get stupid, and they might not do their job as well as they should or could. So I think when you put quotas on people and you put restrictions on people and things like that, I think everybody wins. It keeps people honest. I think humans are can be lazy when not inspired or pushed. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of school systems. Yeah, I know California has the same. Yeah, there were teachers that actually flat out abuse some of the students in a physical way and still have their jobs here. So, yeah, it's pretty nuts. What page is this? This is Chrono Mechanics page. This is page 19. So this is our group of mechanics, team 9.2. Time has just merged. So this Eat at Joe's Cafe just showed up in the middle of a primal landscape. And so our mechanics are realizing that they're up the proverbial time stream without a paddle. And so Zen also, because of the intuitive power of the gem, he realizes something's not right. So in this third panel, he tells everybody to not move. And then at the end of the panel, he starts scanning for mines. And so what happens in Chrono Mechanics is that time mine. So there's all these anomalies that can happen. So what happens in this story is a thing called a time mine emerges. And so a time mine is basically a potential rift in time. So if you step on a time mine, it will blast you through time and different timelines. The interesting part about this is it will blast you through your own timelines. So you can experience as you're getting, and it's very aggressive. Like when I say blast, it's like you're getting blown up. You're getting you're just like a rift. It's just an explosion, and it blasts a hole into the next timeline. And so if you step on one of those, it doesn't blow you up. You just get blasted through all these different timelines, possibly till the end of your life. Some people come back from these timeline mishaps, but they're never the same. So they're usually crazy of some sort, or have some kind of they're impaired somehow. So you never ever want to step on a timeline. So that's what this page is. It's setting up the time mine aspect, and kind of the rules of the time mine, how it works, and all that other good stuff. And in this panel that I'm inking right now, Doug does not heed the warning, so they basically told him to stop moving, and he's still moving forward in this panel. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "You need to stop, man." Doug is not the sharpest tool in the shed. Yeah. So that's kind of what's happening, and that's what this page is here. So Chrono is coming along smashingly, and I kind of like working on a lot of things at one time. So I have a couple commissions that I've started, and I have a layout for the black and white, the next black and white campaign, and I have a thumbnail for the oodles of doodles and other stuff too. Cover, so I guess it'd be volume 2. So I have that I'm putzing around with. So I think part of what's happening is I can't really dedicate too much time to just one thing, because I'm learning that the way this indie thing works is that you have to kind of wear this hat for a while and then take that one off and then go over here and work on this thing for a while, and so on and so on. I was thinking it could be a linear process. You do this, finish it, and then move on to the next thing and finish it, and then so on and so on. But what's kind of happening, the reality of it is that you need to wear many of these hats, and you need to do them kind of all at the same time. So it took me, the year to kind of figure these things out and how the reality of them work. Because one of the things too, at least when I work, I set up a structure of a way to work, and then what I've noticed is that you can't back off on the idea too quickly, because sometimes you have to do things in repetition to see if they work or not. So, that can be, potential time that you would devote into something before you realize that it might not be the best way to work. So you can't necessarily alter the idea too quickly, because I've done that too, where you just kind of discard an idea and you go, well, this isn't working. But the more I found, if you buckle down and you try to really realistically implement an idea over time, that it can work. But that if you don't give it time, then it just it could be a good idea, but you'll never know because you just didn't give it enough time. So those are kind of the things I've discovered working on these indie projects and stuff. And it's all good. It's just a matter of trying to figure out the most efficient way of getting, work done and into your hands. Because once again, like we were just talking, time is kind of money to somebody like me. So the more proficient and faster I can work, the better. It's dark in here, but I know that the light is making it hard for you guys, but I need to see. Yeah, so it's an interesting way to work. Yeah, man. In the day when I was inking a bunch of projects, man, I had a crazy system. I'm telling you right now, if this was a normal way of doing business and I had an investor or somebody who wanted to buy or patent a way of getting books done quickly, holy crap. They could have looked at my template. Yeah, we were quite the machine in the day. Now I'm just going to go into like random line mode just to basically cover some landscape here. I'm kind of a fan of two things that don't really belong together, like a 50s cafe and a prehistoric landscape. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Chrono Mechanics, there's a link in the description. And let me take a moment and give you guys a link. I see a lot of familiar faces, so you guys probably already know all of this stuff, but it never hurts because somebody can come in later. He might be watching the stream. What? Tell Earl Santa. What? I gotta go back a little bit. Who's Earl Santa? Who is this Earl Santa? And what does he want with my stream? Okay, but they don't learn. I'm sorry, you guys. I got kind of stuck in reading mode, and I forgot to talk. I can't imagine graduating seniors, Milwaukee, same eighth graders in my town, thousands per student more. Hey Ted, yeah, it's interesting. I think there are some fundamental changes that are happening with our government and their roles in our lives, and education and healthcare are just two of them. So Earl Santa isn't real. He might be watching this stream. Do I have to go back? Who is this Earl? You guys got me all into Earl Santa. I didn't see no Earl Santa earlier. That is Earl Santa, right? Yeah. Somebody in the chat, tell me what Earl Santa is. Oh, thank you, Drew. I appreciate it, man. AKA Mr. E. Is Mr. E Earl? Is the E, does the E stand for Earl? Is that Earl Santa? Okay, Earl Santa, public education. Amen to rockin'. Christmas is international, so there's a lot more money to do. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Going back in time, I thought that you were against that. Just back in time as far as the chat. I think civilization would collapse if we had that technology. Yeah, I understood what you meant. I just don't know for the masses, though. I mean, because then that can be considered being indoctrinated into the military. So I don't know if we all want to feel like our kids are being trained to be, you know, brought into the military. it, it sounds like, is this a lyric? Wait. Where is it? It sounds like a lyric. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. Wait. Earl. Oh, I see. Wait. Was there a comma in there? Earl Santa. Oh, I thought that was like a first name. I thought it was like Earl Santa was his name. Earl, comma Santa. Okay, I understand now. Okie doke. Well, I'm going to throw some more ink down, do a little bit more, and then I am going to call it for this stream. And then probably going to grab myself something to eat. Getting a little hungry. All this inking. Oh, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that Kyung Lee and I are going to do some kind of stream later tonight. So check that out. We're going to talk about our next projects. I should touch base with him as well before I go downstairs. This is my prehistoric pineapple. Man, if Bernie Sanders got his way with government education for college, I also think we would just we would just eradicate like higher learning, really. So could you imagine if just anybody, like, you didn't have to work a little harder to go to college, so you didn't have to get a scholarship, or you didn't have to somehow do anything worthwhile to get there. And then, like, just anybody, it would be like, well, we already have those, like community colleges. It would just be a community college. What did one of my community college teachers say? This is just high school with ashtrays. Yeah, back in my youth, people smoked. Nobody seems to smoke anymore, at least not in public. Yeah, so that was, we already have like affordable college. It's just community college. If I could afford it when I was on my own, working a Joe job and paying for my apartment, I'm sure other people could, unless things have gotten so out of whack that no one can afford community college courses. That would be odd. Oh, but the education, yeah, but you're not paying $1 billion either, so you get what you pay for. If you want to go to college, like Amanda, my daughter, she knew early on, and so we got her in like the IB program and a lot of higher learning kind of programs where she could get scholarships and things like that. I started saving. I opened a it's kind of a medium risk investment when she was born. So I invested X amount of money, would put X amount of money in every year. And so that pretty much paid for everything. And then the scholarships she would get kind of helped out, with anything that the money that I had contributed didn't, and so pretty much she graduated debt free, like, other than the initial investment that I put in. But she went to a good reputable school and got a degree, and it didn't break the bank. But I understand a lot of people don't go in, with that much foresight and things like that. But I always just think, pretty normal guy, pretty normal family, that if we could do it, I can't see why you would need, the government to pay for it. And if you can't, because a lot of times you can have like if you get really good grades and the kid can focus, you can get like full pass, like scholarships and stuff like that. So there are ways to get either inexpensive college or practically nothing, but you have to give something to get. But I do believe too, if we just gave the kids access to college without investing any work or anything into it, just as like, oh, well, this is your right as an American citizen to not just have 12 years worth of public education, but you also get paid for, mind you, by taxpayers for 4 more years or whatever. What if you wanted to be a doctor or something like that, man? There's more education than that. Like, I don't know how we're supposed to pay for that, or Is it just for certain income, lower income people? But they can still go. There's a lot of lower income, people that do go, and they just get good grades. They get scholarships. They work to get those things. So I don't know. I think it becomes like a weird, like, how can we call it higher learning if just anybody can get in? You don't have to, like I said, the scholarships are beneficial not just to you, but um, it also shows that you have the potential to learn the stuff, that you know, you have the dedication and you have the drive. So when you get these scholarships, they understand that you're a worthy person for these scholarships. It's not just giving it to anybody or just saying that this is your God-given right or whatever to, a 4-year college. I don't know. I think it's kind of a weird setup. And also based on what I've seen with the government and the way they interact with these schools, I would not put it past the government to just be using this as a way to continue the indoctrination of the youth into the way the government wants them to think, or guide them into a chosen field that the government wants them to go versus what individually they want to do, which is also kind of a reality. So it's weed. Probably boring you guys. I probably have like 5 people listening. I should rename this the boring stream. But did you do all right? 3 o'clock. I'm probably, well, not probably. I will shut this down now. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Chrono Mechanics, please do so, which would be very, very cool. It is a very interesting, original idea. And if you like concepts that go outside the box, you like entertainment that's not like anything else, you like funny, humorous, action, adventure, sci-fi, time travel, the super fantastic meets the mundane, average Joe's repairing time. Time is a big machine in this reality. So go check out Chrono Mechanics. I still have some of the Black Friday and Cyber Monday stuff up in tiers, and they will be up for the remainder of the day. So if you want to pick yourself up a black and white volume 1, this is the premium edition. I think there's still 1 or 2 available. We have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of the Oodles of Doodles books available. So they're almost sold out. So if you're thinking about getting those books, now would be the time. And I'm not sure if I'm going to delete those or hide those on the site at the end of the day. But that's something I have to talk to my wife about. I haven't got to that point yet. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. Exactly, you pay for the colleges. Yeah, it's not free. Uh, SpongeBob in the pineapple. Yeah, kind of. I can see that. Yeah, to the state. I got you. Well, yeah, they do, but if you want those jobs, then you have to get an education. And also, I mean, there's trade schools, and there's other ways that you can get the training. You don't have to go to a 4-year college. And I still don't think that it's the government's responsibility. I think the individual, if they want those jobs, then they should have to burn some calories to get those jobs. To be an artist, to do what I do, I had years, a lifetime of drawing before I was even able to step into being considered by Marvel or DC. So you have to give to get. I don't think you can just expect we the people to pay for your job training, which is your college. But I do agree that more things are going that way. But it's also some of it's not even a true construct. Like a lot of people are getting degrees and not even they're not even in places that you can apply them to a job. Like I don't know, Egyptian civilizations or literature. I don't know. There's a lot of like you can get degrees in a lot of weird things that don't apply to jobs or work. So if we were paying for it, we would also have to. If we were paying for it, we the people, then we would have to be tailoring the education to what the society needs. Otherwise, what is society getting from it? So I really think government should stay out of paying for higher learning. I think just regular, like 12 years, I think is needed, because you have to kind of come up with your peer group, educate and work in the same environment. So I think school kind of gets you, for the lack of a better word, indoctrinated into the way society and things work. So I think where our taxpayers, we are investing in the next generation, and we're educating them with the 12 years. I think if you want anything beyond that, it should be on the individual. Because then how would you regulate it too? Like 12 years is pretty much, there's a certain criteria that is taught and that is given to every American citizen. But college is very specialized. Like 12 years of school is very general. Like it's giving you a general overall sense of these things. But college is where you hone your taste, your individual taste, your desires, your drive. It's not really a place for, I think, government to start telling or dictating. You can also, Duroc, you can join the military and they'll train you. They even have like school programs and stuff like that. So some of those things exist. You can get specialized education through the military. My cousin did. He learned how to repair helicopters and stuff like that. I think my other cousins like jet aircraft and things like that. And so this education they used in the military, and then they applied it into the private sector when they left. So there is like schooling and stuff that does happen. Yes, back chronomechs, chronomechanics. Yeah, but you know what else? Like, freaking, there are people that have, like, my daughter has a degree and she's working at freaking Starbucks. Like, there are people that have these jobs, that are getting these jobs, but they're not even jobs that they're just kind of entry level things. So, in this world where, a lot of people have degrees and stuff like that, even these entry level jobs, they're able to grab people that have college educations, and exploit them, until they can find a way to, I don't know, turn their degrees into dollar symbols, into dollars. College isn't specialized? Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're into the arts, you can still get an art degree. I mean, I don't know. There's, at least in California, man, there's a lot of hippie degrees and crap you can get here. It's pretty damn specialized, man. I don't know, but you get the government to start getting involved with financing this stuff, you're gonna start seeing a lot of that stuff go away. It's just a natural way, like a progression for things. Well, I don't want to go too much into this. That's a topic for some other deeper discussion. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me ink. I'll give you a last look over of what I'm doing here. So here's some of this basic outline structure that I'm putting together. So I'll be working on this later. Well, I'm going to go down and get something to eat. Then I'm going to come back up and start working on this. And I should have it done probably about noon tomorrow. I might actually come back and do some more drawing streams, because I enjoy hanging out with you guys and just chit-chatting and working a little bit. So thanks to everybody for hanging out. And thanks, man. I appreciate it. Did you see this? This is my next commission right here. So this is Judge Anderson surrounded by death, which seems to haunt her and follow her. So I'll be bringing that together too on a live stream in the near future. So thanks again, guys. Let me do one last thing here. It's in the description as well, but I'm going to post the Chrono link. So here's the Chrono link to the greatest book of all time, Chrono Mechanics. So yeah, go check it out. Check out Chrono Mechanics. Like I said, it's also in the description. And I'll see you later tonight. So you guys take care. Thanks again for hanging with me.